it all winner for this.
It's the biggest race we have all year long.
The icons of this sport have all starred on its biggest stage.
It's the great American race. Trust me.
I won the Daytona 500. I won the Daytona 500.
Pull them belts tight one last time, boys. Light the fire.
Push coming now for Harvick. Oh, and around goes a couple cars. Priest upside down. He's barrel rolling through the grass.
You got plenty of money. Don't need that to keep racing. Is it worth the risk to keep on going?
Sure, to win.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I'm your host, Michael D.Y. Joined by my two best friends, Matt the Statman, Ryan Lee, and Eric Daytona Ron. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had yourselves a Joey Logano type of weekend. He was the winner in Las Vegas. And make sure you like, share, subscribe. Podcast available every Tuesday.
In Las Vegas, and the entire rest of the NASCAR world were losers.
We're the losers. Yeah, we all lost on that deal. Unless you're a Joey Logano fan, Kimmy. I still don't understand
Joey Logano
why.
fans, if they have any principles about them, lost this weekend. The entire sport lost this weekend. We'll get into it.
So that should be the great indicator how this episode's gonna go. Welcome to the bitch and it was a bitch and rant podcast this week. Because
BNR, baby.
We're still the BNR. We're the bitch and rant podcast. We'll be talking shit on NASCAR all day long. But fellas, first, how was your weekend? Matt, I don't know. I feel like all of us were kind of in separate areas.
I had a busy weekend. I had like a fall weekend, like a typical fall weekend.
Oh, you went to the pumpkin patch, didn't you?
Friday night, took Jackson, took our son to the pumpkin patch. He had an absolute blast. Boys, I got this. They had it was like loaded tater tots.
Oh yeah,
with mac and cheese, pulled pork, and then a drizzle of barbecue sauce on top. Oh my god, man! Like
hell yeah,
it's gonna be
go wrong with tater tots. You just can't. You cannot.
No,
well, I don't know because he sent a snap out of the woods. Apparently, you can go wrong with tater tots.
Yeah, that's true. We get to that in a second too. So they have it's packed up there, and they have like a it's more geared for kids, but there's a lot of adult things to do. They have a beer tent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I see the line and I'm like, let me check to see if there's anything worth getting. And they had like their own like pumpkin ale. I was like, I want to try that. I like pumpkin ales.
Yeah.
So I get in line 20 minutes and it's just like a bunch of single dads, single moms, like not single, but like by themselves, just waiting patiently while the other parent is out chasing the kids somewhere. And so 20 minutes goes by. I finally get up. Let me get a 16-ounce pumpkin ale. Oh, we're out.
Oh no.
So what? So why don't you have it crossed off? I waited 20 minutes for the pumpkin ale.
If I saw it was crossed off, I wouldn't have waited in line.
He goes, we've been out all night. I said, dude, you got to cross it off, man. Like I waited 20. I probably wouldn't have gotten anything. So I was like, get me a Miller Lite. He's like, we only have like our brews here. I'm like, I don't know. Get me whatever's the closest to Miller Lite. He got me a blonde. It was all right, but yeah, it was a good night. And then Saturday, hunted the morning, and those tots came back to haunt me when I'm 20 feet up in the tree stand. Not much you can do, but I hope it passes, And so,
Matt, you know what you pulled on that one too with the Miller Lite? You pulled the Whitey cheesesteak where like you didn't look at the menu, you panicked, and it's like, what do I normally get? Give me a Miller Lite, please. Give me a Miller. Sir, we don't have that.
Yeah, so had an active day in the woods. Didn't shoot anything, but saw a bunch of doe, saw a bear. Then college football the rest of the day. Saturday, Sunday, we went up to an apple orchard up there, which run by the same people as the pumpkin patch. So that was fun again for Jackson. Had a lot of fun with that. But yeah, just an action pack, and then came home and watched the race.
Nice, enjoying a nice weekend. The weather this weekend was absolutely phenomenal too. How about you, Eric? You were on a little bit of an excursion. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, our annual fall camping trip to Wellsboro. We take Luke's van, 1991, camper van.
It's
the
a
thing
Ford
is in
Econoline camper. Yeah.
Yeah. This thing it loves this cool mountain air. It runs like a champion in this type of weather. So we like to treat her right and let her breathe all the way down west on Route 6 to Wellsboro. And, she treated us right. We drove about 6,000 miles and came about 50 feet short because Luke buried her in the woods. Absolutely buried her. Right at our destination up at Cherry Springs to look at the stars. And, got a little too ambitious. And it's just the sheer weight of the machine, the rig, just, 9,000 pounds of American steel.
Yeah.
And it was dark out. And we just saw a picnic table and said, you know what? Let's go for it. And we sunk right down. So we had to get the AAA. They came, they towed us out and whatnot. But
did you have to spend the night there, or did you?
We spent the night there, and had the telescope out. So after that ordeal, it turned into a pretty good ending to the camping trip. With the telescope dialing in Saturn, Jupiter. Pretty good from up there. Saw a ton of shooting stars, so it was worth it. But yeah, that Wellsboro trip, traveling all the way down 6 there is it's always a good time. Never know what you're going to get yourself into. Put it that way.
Where you guys were, there's like zero light pollution at all, right? Like there.
Yeah, it's called like Cherry Springs, I'm pretty sure, and it's like literally the best place on the East Coast to observe the stars. They have an actual big parking lot, and it looks like it's under construction. Like they're putting a lot of money into it because there's a special section for like actual like astronomers and like scientists to like.
Okay.
They have their own field where like they were kind of doing some remodeling around with roads and whatnot. But yeah, they have the whole top of the mountain cleared off, and I think it's just the sheer elevation that you're at too. And like you said, the weather this weekend up here was absolutely gorgeous. So. We went to the PA Grand Canyon. Fall foliage was absolutely gorgeous. So, that's always why we tend to go this time of year, because it's like the peak of the fall foliage around our area. And the mountains around here are absolutely gorgeous.
I tell you what, we say it all the time, but could you imagine a playoff race at Pocono right now with the fall foliage around?
It would be this past weekend would have been
perfect.
A stellar, perfect race for Pocono to have a playoff. Absolutely beautiful.
Not to mention, we haven't gotten rain in like a month and a half, like any rain. So the weather would be, it'd be elite right now to have a Pocono playoff race.
Yeah, my weekend, nothing really of note. It was a pretty quiet weekend. Played some video games all weekend and kind of just hung out. So nothing there. Watched a NASCAR race on Sunday. I tell you what, boys, if it wasn't for this podcast, I think once Tyler Reddick went for his little barrel roll, I might have in past seasons just turned the race off and gone and done something else. And
I easily would have.
Easily
would have. Didn't have to pull my finger to do that.
Yeah, I kind of wish I did. Even before the Tyler Reddick wreck, I forget what happened. Logano was running in the top 5 or something, and he was making up some hay or something. I texted you guys. It was because it was on that restart, and Logano, I think he stayed out or something like that, and I put him on the front row. And I straight up said, I go, if I waste my day for a Logano win. And that was it. I jinxed us. I jinxed us all with that one. I fucked up. My bad, guys.
I won't chalk that up as a jinx.
No.
I jinxed us before you jinxed us, Whitey, because I said I hope Joey Logano rots in hell for the next 3 races and he goes out and wins. So maybe we're both at fault here. Matt, go ahead, say something.
Well, I'm sure this is my penance from years of Joey Logano bashing.
Yep.
You know who we really have to blame here, though.
Yeah,
Blake Harris, son of a bitch.
This guy, yeah. Apparently. So I was listening to the Teardown today, and they Jordan Bianchi said he heard, and he didn't want to say what the weight was because it wasn't verified or anything, but the numbers he heard were so insanely high. Where he's like, I don't know what the hell they were doing. So it wasn't that Alex Bowman got disqualified by a pound or 2. It seemed like it was a pretty substantial weight. But that still doesn't explain
then why they wouldn't talk about it and how he could go out on the racetrack with the weight he was at then.
Yeah. Well, and you want to know what they did touch on why they didn't appeal, and apparently the appeals process is a huge detriment to just the teams in general. You have to get lawyers, do the whole process and stuff. And it seemed like Hendrick kind of didn't see a path where they could win or even defend themselves. So like, yeah, we're not even going to bother on this one. I have a feeling they lost something major.
Like, I don't know, man. This just screams something is greasy about this whole entire situation.
Yeah.
Something doesn't seem right. I mean, I know in the past teams would always appeal. Even if everyone's like, you just at least try. You have to try to come at NASCAR. You have to try to go in and appeal. Teams have appealed over dumber things than this. And this is a playoff spot. This is a chance to move on. And you're not going to appeal that? I get it. Like, just waste your money. You're fucking Hendrick. Like, what are you going to do? What are you talking about? You know?
I think though, and I agree with everything you're saying, Eric, but like, I think they knew like we fucked up, like it's on us. Like Blake Harris probably was trying something.
Yeah.
And he probably told Mr. H, like, dude, like, there's no defending this. Like,
but if I'm Alex Bowman, I want to see my team fight for me, even though they fucked up. You know what I mean? At least put them go through something like, because it's like, I just feel bad for Bowman in that situation. Cause like, it has nothing to do with him. And then now he sees, oh, we're not appealing it. So they're not even fighting for me to try to get this playoff spot back after I ran a great race. And then here, look, he comes back with a top 5 again this week. And that's what irritates me even more about this whole fucking thing.
It wasn't a great race, though. It was a great stretch of races.
Yeah.
You know, like we were talking about it last week and the week before and the week before that. Like Bowman's putting together the best playoff performance out of anyone.
Yeah.
And that happens to him.
And look at, he's still running well now, and it's just a shame. Like, I just can't wrap my head around it. Like, I really just can't.
My first thought in theory would be like whatever caused them to be underweight was so egregious that they knew it would probably end up turning into a worse deal for them, like a bigger penalty or something like that, like where they had no defense, and it's like, we could probably end up stir
the pot even more. Just let it pass by. We
might end up burying ourselves. So
the story of Bowman finding out though, like he's one of us.
Devastating.
You know? Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, I guess he was, because the race was in Charlotte, he was already home by the pool or at the hotel or whatever by the pool. And he got the news and he just took his phone and threw it in the pool because he didn't want to deal with all the text messages that he was going to get. And I guess when the iPhone hit the bottom of the pool, it hit with such ferocity that it triggered a 911 call.
They thought he was in danger.
They thought he was like in a car accident or something. And so, I don't know. But I guess the signal didn't go out because underwater, you don't have signal.
And apparently he's like, it didn't even work either because like the iPhone's waterproof. So
like his phone is fine. Yeah.
It pulled it out of the water. It started blowing up immediately anyways. Just a devastating situation from last week all around. And we're really feeling the effects of it now. Unless you're, Kimmy Schray, #1 Joey Logano fan for some reason. I don't know. But boys, we got a couple news stories. I mean, I really stretched for news this week because there was just nothing going on.
There's one piece of exciting news that came out this morning.
That's why I'm wearing my green Dale Jr. Sundrop shirt. But the first one, Frankie Muniz, I think anyone around our age, you probably grew up watching Malcolm in the Middle. So we kind of love that Frankie Muniz is in the sport, right, guys? Like, I
think it's cool. I mean, because he's not just a gimmick. He actually goes out there, tries, and runs well.
He cares.
He stopped acting and like he's racing. Like that's what. But it's awesome.
So Frankie's had a rough go of it though. In the ARCA series, he did pretty decently in the ARCA series. Picked up a couple part-time rides in Xfinity. But he just signed with the Rayum Brothers Racing in the truck series. He's going to go truck racing full time next season. So I don't know how good that equipment really is. I think it's like mid-pack type stuff. So we'll see what happens with Frankie there. But yeah, saw that today. And then
he gonna learn that series. He gonna learn.
Trucking, baby.
He's going trucking, man. He's going trucking. Hopefully he's ready for it. I feel like I'm pretty sure I heard like, or at least I read it on his Wikipedia at some point that Frankie Muniz had a bunch of concussions and that kind of delayed his racing career too. Boy, you better buckle up for the truck series because you're not going to do your noggin any good down there. And then let's see, a little update on the charter legal battle with 2311 and Front Row Motorsports. They, as well as NASCAR Legal Development let's see. Both parties have consented to redacting confidential information from both the 2016 and 2025 charter documents in legal filings per the latest filing from the league. So we probably won't get that juicy financial information that we were all looking forward to. But apparently this is pretty standard practices for this type of lawsuit. So just a little update there. You guys have anything to add to that or no?
No, it's just going to take a while. It's going to be the same old little shit here and there until the major thing happens, I think.
That's it. And again, this could take forever. So we'll see what happens. I'm waiting. The update I am waiting for is whether the judge will allow 2311 and Front Row to run as chartered teams while litigation goes on, because NASCAR has already decided to start figuring out how to allocate the funds for just 32 charters. Right? That's the...
Those greaseball mother.
Yeah. So they're going along where it's like, you didn't sign it, you're not part of this deal. Sorry. It'll come down to what the judge decides though. So we'll see what happens with that one. And then the big announcement this morning, huge announcement. I didn't see this one coming at all. I don't think any of you guys did. Dale Jr. famously fantastic at marketing, fantastic at merchandise. I'm wearing the number 3 Sun Drop late model. Of course, that's where he got his start. And then he added the Bass Pro Shops late model. What's up, Matt?
Eric, why didn't you wear your Sun Drop shirt today?
I was going to bring it up in the text message, so I'm like, I'm not buying one of these things that you guys are sending over there because I still didn't get my other damn friggin' T-shirt from his ass.
I don't know if we ever told that story on the show, but back when this merch dropped, like the day of, we all went and bought T-shirts. And Eric's never came in the mail, and
Whitey got his, and he sent a picture like, "Oh, mine's here," and then I got mine like a day later, like, "Oh, mine's here."
Yeah. I'm just there waiting. I'm like, well, mine's got to be here any day now. And it never came. I didn't get no email. I tried finding like on my credit card. I couldn't find any information on it. And like, I know I ordered it.
Are we sure you actually ordered it?
That's the thing, man. That could have been questionable. Night after this, couple liquor, but I was on the liquor back then too.
That's the thing. It might have ended up in the checkout. It might have been in the shopping cart. Whether you hit confirm on that order or not, we'll never
buy
know.
one of these new Bud shirts, and it's
not gonna get it.
It's gonna be sitting in there like, I never ordered it.
Like the cash is still there from the last time he's on Shop Junior. Anyways, the big announcement: Dale Jr. reuniting with Budweiser in the late model stock races for the car tour. He will run a whole handful of races with the Budweiser number 8 making a return to the track. The first race will be November 23rd at Florence Motor Speedway in South Carolina for the South Carolina 400. So big exciting news. The merch looks awesome, like awesome. I didn't order any yet, but I'm definitely getting some.
I'll tell you what, boys, the way shit's going with NASCAR.
Should we become a Cars Tour podcast?
Bump and Run podcast might be a Cars Tour. I might get a Flow subscription, and we might just be a Cars Tour podcast next year.
I mean, not a terrible idea, to be honest with you.
Because you've got Dale Jr., Harvick, Jeff Burton. You got guys who actually care about the sport, the fans, the drivers running that series, where you probably won't have the bullshit that we're dealing with NASCAR, and great racing.
And you have great racing. You have all these short track guys that have been making names for themselves down south for years and years now. And
how'd that season go?
I'm not sure.
I actually don't know, but I will look into that. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, maybe it's not as long of a NASCAR season. I know the races aren't going to be 3.5, 4 hours long.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to discuss. If you couldn't tell, we're very frustrated at NASCAR, the playoff system, and the racing this week. So
just like everyone else is, we're not alone. We just have microphones.
Yeah, we're definitely not alone. In fact, I've seen more people talking about the Joey Logano win in a negative light than I've seen in a positive light. And
it doesn't have anything like, listen, yeah, we don't like Joey Logano, but I think the fact that it is him makes it a little bit worse, but it's the whole principle of how and why.
He was eliminated last week. He was 15th in points going into this season. and now he's going to run for a championship at one of his best tracks.
He's taking a position away from a handful of guys who deserve that 4th spot.
Honestly, like, and you want to know what? I blame us a little bit ourselves for getting excited because for the first time in a while, we're like, man, everyone in the round of 8 besides Joey Logano deserving of a championship at this point. Like, you can make an argument for every single one of them except for Joey Logano. Like, he didn't perform well at all this season. Like, he had another bullshit fuel mileage win in Nashville to get into the playoffs. First of all, he was sitting outside the cut line. He would have never made it if he didn't. And that was like a 5 overtime debauchery of a fucking race at the end. Tyler Reddick should have won that one too. And like just bullshit ticky-tack cautions. Anyways, I don't know. But that's the thing. Like we went in like, man, like we're going to see like a real championship battle here in the championship floor. And now Joey Logano's inserted himself in and it sucks. That's where I'm at.
It does. That's what it just sucks. It sucks.
But we got a race weekend to talk about, and this is why we do the show. Let's see. Xfinity. You guys see the Xfinity race this weekend? Me either. AJ Allmendinger won. Eric was out in the woods, and Matt was out in the woods.
This is the first. I had no idea AJ Allmendinger won.
I didn't know he won until this morning either. Apparently, it was a bit of. In fact, I think this is his first win of the season. At least it's the first win of the playoffs. He's another guy that apparently like desperately needed a win to get into the round of 4. And then Joey Logano, he led once for 6 laps. The race lasted 2 hours, 52 minutes, 24 seconds. We saw 5 cautions for 32 laps, 13 lead changes among 10 different drivers. Your top 5, Joey Logano, Christopher Bell, Daniel Suarez, William Byron, and Alex Bowman. Fuck you, Drew. Oh, is it Drew Blickenster? Blake Harris. I think who's Drew Blickenster? Wasn't he?
Oh, Whitey, that was a great made-up name, though. I'll give you that.
No, Drew,
it sounded like a crew chief or something.
That's not his name.
No, Drew Blickenster is a crew chief.
No, it's not.
Then who am I thinking of? Blickenster.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's not Blickenster.
Yeah, it is. It's
Blickensderfer.
Yeah, either way, he went to Front Row Motorsports. He's Michael McDowell's crew chief. Did he used to? Oh, he was Noah Gregson's back. Now he's Noah Gregson's crew chief now. Anyways, fucking Joey Logano won. I lost my notes. This show's off the rails.
Why did Drew Blickensderfer catch a stray tonight?
That's who I thought. Blake Harris was. I thought that was Alex Bowen's crew chief. Anyways, I give it a C, boys. It has nothing to do with the winner either. It was just a super mediocre race for me, to be honest with you. Seabell absolutely dominated. He got fucked from strategy after a caution that his teammate Ty Gibbs brought on, and there was a certain point at the race that I knew it was a bad race when television was focusing on the Lucky Dog battle. I think it was Kyle Larson, someone else fighting for the Lucky Dog. And Lee Diffie, God, great announcer. To his credit, he goes something along the lines of, "Don't worry about up front. He's running away with it. This is the battle. This is the battle to get back on the lead lap." That was the only good battle worth watching at a certain point.
And I think that's with Ty Gibbs, and that's how Ty Gibbs ended up overdriving the shit out of his car and smacked the wall, and that's when he blew his tire. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because that's when Kyle Larson goes, finally something went right, and he got back on the lead lap there.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Oh, finally something went right for Kyle.
Yeah, 6 wins. Something had to go right.
Because he needed such a freaking break. Oh, my God. Thank God something went right for him. Welcome
to the Haters Club tonight, boys. Welcome to the Haters Club. But yeah, I didn't think it was that entertaining of a race. It got exciting near the end there, watching Seabell try to hunt down Daniel Suarez and Joey Logano cutting through the field. And man, if he just had a couple more laps, I feel like we would all have kind of a different perspective on the race and the playoffs right now. But Joey Logano, scumming one again. I guess you got to give him credit. Something is I think I brought it up during Nashville too, because they were supposed to have run out of gas during like the third restart. And I go, the reason why Ford could save so much gas is because their engines are dog shit and they're underpowered. And sure shit happened again, in my opinion. Like, I just don't understand how everyone else could like run fine line on gas and then Penske doesn't. Anyways, you guys have a race grade, or you give it a race grade this week or no?
I gave it a C+. And the only reason I gave it a C+ is because of that, just watching Seabell try to track everyone down, try to track Suarez and Logano down, and just the whole freaking NASCAR community. You can hear, if you opened up your window in your house and you just listened out the window, you can hear everyone rooting for Seabell, because nobody wanted to see what inevitably happened. And it was exciting. Can he do it? And he was just watching him rip through the field. And we actually finally, the one time that we actually don't get like a caution with 2 laps to go.
Get the fuel strategy race. Yeah.
Like that's what we've been asking for that all season. We finally got that. It's just a culmination of a fucking disaster that we end up with. I gave it a C+, but I mean, I want to give the whole thing an F because of the aftermath.
Damn.
Yeah, I gave it a D. I mean, it was what it was. That race was garbage in my eyes. There was nothing during that race that moved the needle at all for me. I went into that race excited. I went into that race thinking we were going to see these guys battle it, and it turned out to be just another Gen 7 strategy race that we all just, kind of let happen, and you move on to the next week. And that's how I feel about this race. And if not for the shitty winner of the race, I think we're just talking about, man, like what a dud of a first, race of this last round here that was, rumored to be. Everyone was kind of hyping it up, Gluck and the boys, and I saw some other media personalities being like, this is it. All the guys are in here. This is going to get exciting now. And I bought into it. I did. And, it just did not deliver at all in my eyes. This was supposed to, these are the racetracks here at the end of the season. These are the ones that are supposed to start blowing us away. And the racing should be blowing us away right now. And we weren't on Sunday, unfortunately. So, the winner of the race really didn't have a big factor. I'll give it an F if you want me to put that in there. It's clearly an F. But also it was, heartbreaking for me because Seabell was that close. You know what I mean? So it was like, you watch your driver kind of dominate all day long, and then, it kind of, at the end lets it slip away. And that's been his MO this year. Like Larson is either he wins or DNFs. Christopher Bell either wins or just comes in fourth, thankfully, he's not winning the races, but he's not absolutely like destroying them. He's finishing in the top 3, top 5 still. So I can't, I guess, complain about that. But it did sting after, you watch a driver dominate. You always kind of feel better when they do end up winning it. No matter who it is, I feel like in my eyes, I do too. But yeah, that race just didn't do it for me. Didn't move the needle like I thought it would have. And it's just unfortunate the way that this sport, the playoffs and everything, it's just unfortunate. It really is.
Yeah, it's really deflating too. And I don't know if we mentioned it last week. I know I wanted to, just because we always hype ourselves up for Las Vegas and then we're always disappointed by it. And I think it goes back to like 2019. There's a great finish at Las Vegas between the Busch brothers, Kyle and Kurt, where Kurt won in that number 1 car, the Chip Ganassi car, for the first time. And ever since then, I think there was one other good one in 2020 during the playoffs. That was a decent Vegas race. But other than that, like, Vegas doesn't deliver like the other mile and a halves have with this car, where It's not like Charlotte where we know like, oh, we're going to the oval. It's going to be a good race. Like hopefully Homestead's a good race next week too. I'm not sure if it will be in this car either though.
You nailed it. This car, you keep saying in this car, Whitey, that's the difference.
This car is killing it. It's killing the sport.
And you know what? Frankly, I'm comfortable as a fan. I think I'm more comfortable because we've had to deal with it. Now, hear me out. Through COVID, we've raced at Darlington multiple times, and we kind of saw what it would be like to do something along those lines. But I forget where I was going with that.
With is it the track lineup and stuff?
Yes, like
play to
at
the
this
strengths.
point, I would be comfortable with NASCAR just putting this car on the racetracks it does well.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's the same ones. If we're going to get good racing, and until you figure something else out or redesign other raceways or try other raceways that are similar to the ones where it works well, like when this new schedule comes out, they're trying all these new things and moving stuff around. Man, I just kind of want to see good racing at this point from a fan. I don't care about new venue. That doesn't do anything for me. Like, I don't know if it sparks anything for you guys, but I would be okay. Really. Like, if this car runs great at Charlotte and the Oval, their home base is Charlotte, run Charlotte 6 fucking times. Right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. If we're going to get good racing, go to the places where we're going to see the best racing, I should say. But it all stems from your point of it's this car, and it's a shame that it does ruin certain racetracks, and Vegas might be one where it's hit or miss with this car.
I think the most disappointing thing is too, we've been talking about this car and the changes that need to be made for like 3 years now. And there's nothing, like there's really nothing that can be done. And so it seems, like I really, man.
Well, what's happening is NASCAR knows that, and then it forces the teams to start cheating. It forces teams to move that gray area and to do what Blake Harris did in that 48 team. And now NASCAR gets everything out of it. Oh, they force teams to cheat, and then they fine them and penalize them for going over and breaking the rules, and they get that money anyway. Yeah. So it's like you limit them with the parts and the resources that they could use to build these cars. It's all here. This is where you got to get it from. Okay, well, now, no, you're not allowed to do that with those parts. Oh, well, you go step over the line to get a little bit of speed. Well, you're fine for that. And it's like, you're not a monopoly. Get the hell out of here.
You remember when they first announced the next gen car, we all kind of got excited because we were like, oh, parity is going to be great. Like we're going to see like the best drivers kind of rise to the top instead of just the same old teams over and over again, like getting the wins, Man, I would kill for like a 10-win fucking Kyle Larson season at this point, to be honest with you, where it's like, I think we have more winners this season than any other season in history, like different winners. And like, I don't know if that's a good thing anymore. I don't think it is. I've been
seeing that float around, Whitey. And it's one of those questions where maybe 2 years ago, I would have said it this way, but then you see something else come up and you're like, ooh, maybe I wanted it the other way. And then something else comes up and you go back and you're like, well, wait a minute. No, I think I agree with my old self on that one. But I've been up in the air with that as well. And it's a tricky one to kind of answer.
Like, I want to see it put back in the engineers' hands what they could do and figure out,
I've got a solution to all this. The reason why I've been quiet the last couple minutes is because I've been doing my own research. Yeah. The Cars Tour starts, it looks like it starts in March.
All right.
And it goes until it looks like it goes until October. Now, I could be reading this all wrong. There might be one of our listeners who's listening to this and saying like, he's completely wrong. But like, I'm on the Cars Tour website, and they don't race every weekend. So in that stretch, there's only 17 races.
Okay.
Sounds like our kind of series, boys.
That does sound like our kind of series.
There's 250s, there's 150s, 125s. 225. So like they're 280. Like they're short races.
Oh, like Thursday night races too, right?
They don't have the day. They don't have the day. I'm
like
still
Fridays probably.
Listen,
yeah.
Anyone who's probably screaming at their radio or YouTube page right now, listening to me, like we're infants with the Cars Tour. we're going to learn, but God damn it, we're going to learn, and we're going to be ready for next year.
And you want to know what though? NASCAR is supposed to be the pinnacle of stock car racing, right? It's supposed to be the best of the best, and we're like, nah, we need to get back to short track grassroots racing because the product, the National Series isn't good right now, and that's the thing. There's good races throughout. How many great grades did we give over the last 2 or 3 months?
Yeah, I mean, the racing is good. I just think we just know
soured.
the people that are running it are not running it right. They're like, where there's the good, we know that they're going to do the opposite and they eventually ruin it next year somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the dog chasing its tail. We see it from a mile away, and we just know it's about to happen again.
No, I get it. Should I give my checkers and wreckers? Do you guys have anything for checkers and wreckers at all? These guys didn't. They don't have checkers and wreckers.
I got stuff.
You got stuff? All right.
I got stuff.
All right. I just wasn't sure because there is a pickle lane question I have for this week. It's been a long time, but Matt brought up a pickle lane during the race actually, where it's like, ooh, I want to talk about that more than I want to talk about this race. But my checkers and wreckers, I give my checkers to Seabell and Adam Stevens. They did absolutely everything they needed to do to win that race. They just needed 2 more laps, unfortunately. And, I just thought they ran a really great race. And then my wreckers, that Larson pit stop. Oof, was that rough to watch. Now, Kyle Larson, like, They had a lot of trouble. Apparently, they even pulled a piece of Austin Dillon's wheel out of the bumper after the race. So, like, Austin Dillon did a lot of damage to their car during his wreck. Like, they had a piece go through the bumper. But when they came down and did that pit stop, was it under green or was that under yellow? I can't remember. I want to say it was under green, possibly.
I think it was under yellow because that's what made it so like terrible for him, right? Like,
okay, then it was under yellow. He came in. If you missed this pit stop, so they lowered the right side of the car. I guess the back right wheel wasn't tight. That tire changer never moved. They went over to the left, changed the front tire, couldn't change the back because the tire carrier wasn't there. Didn't realize why he wasn't there. Dropped the jack, had to run back around to the car, jack it up, tighten that tire, and then send them out. It looked like fucking a clown show. Like if Benny Hill's music was playing, that's what it looked like. So he runs out, and then they realize, hey, we never changed the back left tire because of what happened. So he had to come back down pit road and get it fixed again. That might have been the worst pit stop I've ever seen. How he finished 11th, I don't know, but that probably goes to my checkers too. Congratulations for Kyle Larson for finishing in the top 15 after that day. That was a rough one.
Worst pit stop ever in the playoffs was Matt Kenseth 2013 when he lost to Jimmy Johnson in Phoenix. Blew it. 26-second pit stop. Absolutely blew it.
Wow, 26 seconds. What happened?
Yeah.
What
just everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong. It was that I just remember like everything, like when when your heart sinks to your stomach, you're like, that was it. That was that it's over now. Like the chance over. It was over.
That's devastating. Did they leave the wrench on the deck lid?
That's probably the one where he did it. Dowsey never let me go about it either. One of the worst ones I don't think it was that one, but every time I just think of that,
You left it on the deck lid.
Yeah.
How about you, Eric? Well, do you have checkers and wreckers?
Yeah, my records goes to my, I can't. I don't even want to call them my team. LMC once again switching crew chief. Still no progress. Still nothing. They come down during like green. Take your time, like or a caution me, like change the tire. They don't get it on. The whole wheel falls off. Like they need to either dump all of the money they have that Jimmy Johnson's bank account into this fucking team, or they need to burn the whole fucking thing to the ground, or they need to go to 2311 and Joe Gibbs Racing and say, flop that hog out and let me start sucking, because they need all the resources that they could get or else they are just done. I don't understand how they were ever going to be tier 1, but they need some Toyota help. They need some help from an entity that I don't even know is out there. They need to go through the doors of Narnia and find something and bring it back at this point, because they are just despicable as a team.
Yeah, Eric, I left that on the NASCAR news for your sake, but the suspensions and the fines came out today, so yeah. That was a rough one.
It's just sad. It's just they're not even like they're not even a compatible team. Like they don't even they're making look like Rickware Racing look like champions. You know what I mean? And it's like that's hard to fucking do.
I tell you what, hold on, man. I hate to fucking give this guy props another week. But where did he finish? Justin Haley finished in 17th in the 7 car. Corey LaJoie 14th. Top 15. I think this is his third top 15 in like a row. So
yeah, LMC, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, but I'm out. I can't do it. I can't do it, you know? And this is where I'm trying to not let sports ruin my life. I'm trying to not let sports dictate my moods. I'm trying to just tell myself it's just sports, whatever. Who gives a shit?
It's supposed to be fun and entertaining.
I'm giving my checkers to the Joey Logano win.
Okay.
Because guess what? When Christopher Bell gets to the Final Four, that just leaves a weak-ass fucking opponent for him to mop up in the championship race. Good. Glad Joey Logano made it, because guess what? Sports are slow as shit. Sports can't do nothing but get lucky-ass fucking wins. And when it comes down to championship, it's going to be speed, and I know C-Bell's going to be there, so good. I'm glad Logano made it, because now that's a bitch-ass fucking opponent for him to just mop up.
I like it. I don't think Joey Logano won that race without Ryan Blaney on Sunday, pushing him a little bit in the corners and stuff. That saved him, I think. So
yeah, because Bell would have caught him, I think, too, if not for that, helping him get around there.
Yeah, fuck Ryan Blaney, too. How about you, Matt? Did you decide on checkers records, or are you skipping this week?
Boys, my checkers is that the Cars Tour, it looks like we run mostly on Saturday nights.
Okay.
A couple Fridays thrown. Oh, I don't know if it's Saturday nights or Saturday day. It just says Saturday.
Yeah.
But we got a couple Fridays in there. We have a midweek. We have a Wednesday race. That looks like it was July 3rd. So maybe something for the 4th of July.
4th of July shootout. Yeah.
Don't know. But yeah, my checkers is that we're about to have a hell of a 2025 with the Cars Tour.
We got to pull our money together
for anyone who's not jumping on board with us, because we're full-fledged here.
I love it. We got to get that Flow subscription. Maybe we'll split it between the three of us. We'll share the costs. That way it's not killing us.
It's like $4 a month.
Is it? I thought it was like $90. I thought it was like $90.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I could be making it. Oh, well, that's part of my next research. Go on. Go.
I think because this happens every year with the Chili Bowl, we look to see if we could get it, and I think you can't do like just a monthly. I think you have to do the full year, unless they change that. They might have changed it. So, but I think that's what always stopped us, because it was like $120 for the year, or like $90 some for the year. I'm like, I'm not paying that just to watch the Chili Bowl. A race that I kind of don't really even care about. It's just like it's in the middle of the winter and I'm starved, you know?
Wait, okay. So they're available $39.99 per month or $13.25 per month when paid annually.
Okay, that's the deal then. Yeah.
Okay, so a little steep, but I mean, you get everything,
and it's racing across the country every single night too. It's probably well worth the subscription price.
Our buddy Justin Pierce has a subscription. He'll fill me in on it. He's probably going to say we're late to the party, because I know he watches a lot of those races. But you get the Chili Bowl, you get everything.
Used to be able to watch Bloomsburg.
We're on the
too.
Homestead now.
That reminds me. Should we do all right? Let's do the pick lane that Matt brought up. I don't even know if you remember this. Ty Gibbs versus Kyle Busch. What is more surprising? Who hasn't won this season yet? You know, Matt, since you brought it up, I want to know your thoughts first, and then I'll kind of give you mine. And Eric.
So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question, right? And why? Because if you go back and you listen to the first episode of our season this year, I think I said like I expect Ty to win 4 or 5 races this year. Like,
I think so.
He was knocking on the door last year, and you can kind of see it building and building and building throughout last season, where I expected him to kind of be on this Larson run this year. And for whatever reason, it never really materialized, And then you've got Kyle Busch on the other hand, who, he's in lesser equipment than JGR now, where Ty Gibbs is.
Yeah.
But he's still Kyle Busch. He won 3 races last year. He's still got it in him. And he hasn't won yet. Both have been in position from time to time throughout the year, but just haven't been able to close it out. And I think I'm more surprised that Ty Gibbs hasn't won a race this year, because you see JGR, he has the talent. And I just expected him, I expected Kyle to win a race or maybe 2, but I expected Ty Gibbs to go off this year.
Yeah,
and he
a breakout season.
Yeah, and he just hasn't, and I'm just super shocked by that. So my answer would be, I'm going with Ty Gibbs as the more surprising results this year.
I agree. I think going into the season, I thought Ty Gibbs was gonna definitely at least win his first race or 2. Made the playoffs, which is better than Kyle Busch. See, the trouble is Kyle had a couple wins last year. He had 2, 3 wins.
I think 3.
Yeah, I'm going Kyle Busch.
Yeah,
to throw a different side in here, because, I mean, that was a huge move, right? That was spotlight. That was everything is on it. So RC doesn't want to look like an idiot. So to me, when Kyle went out there and won those 3 races, and yes, be it they could have been the Logano type race wins where, that's why I think it goes more to my point, where you're used to Kyle Busch or Logano just winning 1 or 2 that way, where it's in position, a vet knows what to do. They just know how to handle a situation at the end, fuel mileage. They're going to win 1 race or 2 races a year. And for Kyle Busch not to do that after the year that he had, and to come up short, and I feel like that team, you want to prove something. You want to be okay, yeah, that 18 car Joe Gibbs, I don't need you. This is almost like a Belichick Brady thing in my eyes when I was looking at this move, where it's okay, who's going to reign supreme here? Is Joe Gibbs going to be the winner because they are who they are, or is Kyle Busch still going to perform no matter what equipment that he's in? And when he went out and ripped off those 3 races, I'm hell yeah, that's Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
And I expected more out of Kyle Busch this year than I did out of Ty Gibbs, just for the pure fact of that. The pure fact that Kyle Busch is still searching, to get back in his groove from where he was in that 18 car. Yeah, he won 3 races, but they were early. He went on a tailspin to end the season. So he was still trying to find some things in that car. And Ty was ready to win, but we all know it takes quite a few years, especially with this new car. And now that he lost his opportunity, I think actually last year might have been a better opportunity for him to win, because the teams were still figuring the car out. There wasn't this dominance that we have now again, where we see with the last car, teams rising to the top that figure it out, that have the resources. So, that's why I think I'd go Kyle Busch.
Yeah, man, each guy has a great argument. Like you said,
you can make an argument for either one of those guys.
Yeah. So I was just kind of looking at some of the numbers, because Eric, like you said, I remember Kyle Busch rattling off a couple wins early on the season. Of course, he was in position when the Daytona 500, followed it up with a win at Auto Club, last race winner at Auto Club. And then I had to go back and look. So he won at Talladega, which I don't remember that race from last year. I'm sure it was a wild finish. And then he won at Gateway, which is kind of a shorter track, smaller track, not a short track. And then I remember near the end of the season, he didn't do too well in the playoffs and stuff, but looking at his numbers, he still finished well here and there. He had a lot of 20th, 25th place finishes, but then you get a 3rd and a 4th place finish after that the week later. This year, though, looking at Kyle Busch's numbers, it's almost like a night and day difference, where he has 5 top 5 finishes, and that's it. And then I don't see. You
know who else only has 5 top 5 finishes? Joey Logano, and he's in the fucking championship 4.
Joey Logano is 6 now.
Oh yeah, now it's fucking 6. God damn
6. But sorry. But here's the thing. Ty Gibbs only has 8 top 5 finishes as well. So I feel like Ty Gibbs and Kyle Busch kind of running equal, where I looked at his stats too, where Ty had a lot of opportunities where he was running well, but he also has a lot of like 30th place finishes, where it's kind of that Kyle Larson feast or famine for both those guys.
But with Ty Gibbs, that's his inexperience. That's his being young behind the wheel of the car, because he comes out firing. He has speed off the hauler. That
almost
team.
Every
in
week.
The beginning of races, winning stages, even through stage 2. But then it seems like either at the end of that stage, instead of being comfortable coming home 12th with that 12th place car that he has, he tends to overdrive it or tends to get himself into a situation where now instead of coming home 12th, he's coming home 24th. And, so maybe some questionable moves behind the wheel in those end of the, stage 3s, because he does run well in the beginning of these races. He just needs to learn how to deal with the Cup Series being longer than Xfinity. That could be the difference, where you have to learn how to maintain your car, your tires, your brakes, your fuel over that much mileage versus Xfinity. And that could take quite a while, maybe a couple times going to these racetracks to really get to learn and hone that skill in of the difference between Xfinity mileage and Cup mileage. That does affect certain drivers with timing it out and how to run a race in segments. So
what do we always say, though? We said it with William Byron, you say it with Blaney, a couple of these other guys, where once he gets that one and he figures out how to do it, you said it with Reddick, it's gonna click and it's gonna go. It took Larson a while to win his first race, but once he fucking did, it was game on.
Oh yeah, I feel like the problem is now these guys don't get those real opportunities to kind of take a couple years to do it. Like a lot of people wanted William Byron out of that car before he was able to rattle off wins. And now he's running for a championship consistently year after year. I think Ty Gibbs is the same, and I think a lot of guys, and I'm going to bring up Tyler Reddick, and Matt, you said tell everyone what we said on Sunday, where you're like, I'm over Tyler Reddick's shit, kind of,
over his shtick. And I told you, I was like, listen, I know that's your guy. This isn't a personal thing. I just it's boom or bust with him, and it's mostly busting, and it's just he overdrives. He goes, I understand it wasn't fully his fault, the wreck on Sunday, but I think he deserves a little bit more blame than you were willing to give him, which I get why you don't want to, but from where I saw it, he was shooting a gap that wasn't going to be there regardless of Martin and Chase washing up the track. And it's just so many times we see that. And I like Reddick. I want to root for him, but God damn, man, it's dude, just settle the fuck down.
So, and I feel like Ty is in the same position where and the reason why I want you to bring that up is I wonder if it's just a bigger picture, because this car is so hard to pass in. The lap time differentials are so tight, where it's you see those little opportunities, those gaps that maybe you shouldn't try to shoot, but you have to do it anyways. And then it puts you in bad positions. I'm just thinking back earlier to some of the races where I'm like, man, Ty Gibbs has a really good opportunity to win this race right now. And then what happens? He starts fading in the long run because he burned up his stuff earlier in the stage. You know what I mean? Where it's like patience does a lot for a driver. But I'm wondering if this...
It's also a product. It's also, I'd hate to beat a horse while it's down, or kick a dead horse, or spin on whatever this thing is. But it's this playoff system too. It's everyone's so desperate to win. Take a look. I know we're not allowed to look at the Winston Cup standings because why would you waste your time on that, Pete Pistone? You rat bastard, Pete Pistone. But if you look at the Winston Cup standings, if we still had that implemented, Reddick was top dog the entire, and it's because of consistency. Yeah, maybe you're in 12th, and maybe you're ceiling that day as an 8th or 7th place finish, but everyone's trying to go and take a 7th or 8th place finish
and finish
make
top 5,
first place, even though they don't have a first place car, and it's just overdriving and it's causing mayhem, and it's just enough already.
And I just wonder,
the car did it. Like you said, Whitey, it's a product of this car. And that's kind of why, like I said it earlier, like, who cares about going out and wrecking a car and being aggressive now? Because that's why I said go out and be aggressive, because that's what this car, you have to. It's forcing these drivers to wreck one another. And it's not egregious wrecking sometimes. It's more washing a driver up because you went for
Just
a slide job that you knew you weren't going to make it, but you're just using them up anyways. And all you have to do is say, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that after the race. And you get your win, you're locked in, you don't get an enemy because they know if there's retaliation that person's going to get fined. So it's all just wrapped up in just a whole bunch of bullshit that when you don't want to realize how manufactured it is, it's you could say it's manufactured in a bunch of different ways by the way they run it and police it and fine people so that you can't do this. But then in order to pass, you need this driver to bump that driver out of the way. But then you'll use the retaliation in all your promo, but then you'll find and suspend a driver when he does retaliate. Yeah. And it's just this big circle of just them not knowing how to actually run a sport. And I think that's what's frustrating more than I think just the playoff system in general. It goes beyond the playoff system, I think. And it's crazy. It just has me like, I'm trying to stay as positive as I can, but it just always just comes back to like, you could spin it any which way you want. It comes down to NASCAR doing something stupid. And now's the result of that. And I don't think it's ever going to change. This lawsuit doesn't seem like NASCAR is still like putting their foot down, like they didn't do anything wrong. And I don't know if it's a bold move or not, but our sport does not look good. Is where I'm going with that.
But back to the Kyle Busch and Ty Gibbs question though. As I'm watching RCR kind of flounder the way they are, where it's like, yeah, you can't take a top 15 car and put it in victory lane. I feel like that's what RCR is putting out there. So I think for me right now this season, I'm a little bit more shocked that Ty Gibbs hasn't won at least one race yet versus Kyle Busch, because at least you could blame the equipment, where it's like, yeah, RCR as a whole is doing kind of shitty. Kyle Busch kind of got fucked in that trade, at least that's a justification I want to put in my mind for KB not winning yet. You look
at the way all these races finish and why I was getting pissed all year long. You think that's a good opportunity for Ty or Kyle to sneak one out. And they, like you said, the difference is they were only in position a couple times. Yeah. So there were a lot of opportunities with some, bullshit at the end of these races, but they might've been the races that they were not in the opportunity to win those. So I don't know. I go back to your thing with parity, how good is parity? And it's just that small little window, it creates what we just talked about too. The need to move somebody, the need to get into somebody to get around them. And it just goes into all of that. That's why I said any angle you look at it, it points back to some decisions that were made either with the car, the rules, and how they police certain things. Yeah. It's crazy.
So, I like that. We'll see if either of them can get it done before the end of the season. We got 3 races
I would
left.
hope. I'd like for both of them to get a win. I think it's good for the sport. I think they both need to start winning again. Yeah. It's fun. You even just saw it when the last couple of races where Kyle Busch was up front looking for that win and how we all got excited. Really that was the most exciting part of the last couple weeks of that, was trying to see if Kyle Busch was going to win because he was actually running well. So we need those guys to propel to the top and stay at the top because they get eyes to the sport for sure.
This sport needs Noah Gragson to start winning.
Yeah, a little personality and stuff.
Well, yeah, because him and Ty get that rivalry back.
That's a real rivalry too. That's not a manufactured. Those two dudes hate each other.
That's an off the track, we hate each other type rivalry too. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let's go over some of the other stuff that happened in this race, though.
And we're on to Homestead because nothing else happened in this race.
Honestly, Ty Gibbs led once for 23 laps. He had a pretty strong performance early on, got stage points in the first stage, just kind of fell off after that, finished 30th. Let's see, Daniel Suarez, he led twice for 57 laps. He finished 3rd. Of course, he did that because of fuel strategy and that whole caution deal. Before that, he only gained stage points in the second stage. but not a whole lot. Honestly, Christopher Bell just dominated. He dominated, and it's kind of a shame. There really isn't much else to talk about other than Denny Hamlin having some terrible pit stops once again. I don't know what the hell's going on with Denny Hamlin's crew, but like they're just shooting themselves in the foot at this point, week after week. Like I don't know.
A lot of these teams are. It's that pressure that's ramping up because guess what? We all said we wanted it back in the driver's hands. Well, I think the playoffs, it's in this pit crew's hands now. I think and the teams start to know that. And like as a driver, oh man, like you're doing everything you can. And like if your season comes down to pit crew again, Denny Hamlin's shaking in his fucking boots.
Oh yeah. He still finished 8th place though. He was doing all right. And that's all I got. Matt, Eric, you guys got anything to add? All right. Here on the Bum Run podcast, everyone loves to talk about the winner when Joey Logano on a Monday or Tuesday. We also like to talk about the loser, and it was one Austin Dillon. He wrecked out early after contact with Daniel Hemrick, and he screwed Kyle Larson's day. That's for sure. And other than that, we got nothing. We're heading to Homestead. Hopefully it's a better race than we saw in Las Vegas. I have a feeling it will be, but again, keep expectations low and hopefully it'll deliver. Trucks on Track Saturday, 2 p.m. on FS1 for the Baptist Health 200. This is the first time trucks have been on track since I think Kansas earlier in the month. It's been like a full fucking month. Let's see. Xfinity on track Saturday, 4 p.m. on the CW for the Credit One NASCAR Amex Credit Card 300, and Cup on track Sunday, 2:30 on NBC for the Straight Talk Wireless 400. To go over our picks from last week. Oh shit, I didn't update this part. I
have them.
So, whatchamacallit, Eric, you picked
Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, you picked Denny Hamlin. He got you. Here, let me pull up my Excel spreadsheet on my computer.
Denny, you picked Blaney, and I picked the 5.
All right, so I had to get the points total. So, Eric, you won with Denny Hamlin. He got you 29 points. Matt, you came in second with Kyle Larson. He got you 27 points. And then I picked Ryan Blaney. He got me 5 points. So I picked first. Matt picks second. Eric picks last. I'm just going to go with my gut on this one, and I am going to say that Kyle Larson wins Homestead, locks himself into the round of 4.
Am I up next?
Yep, you're up.
Man, I want to take that 45.
Don't do it.
Really want to take that 45. Ripping that top, being 6 inches off the wall. That's his forte. But he's gonna run it, man.
He's falling apart.
I have to steer clear of him because he's gonna do something.
He's in a must-win situation, and that's the worst spot he could be in because he's gonna overdrive the car once again.
Makes it worse. I'm taking the 20. I'm taking Christopher Bell. He's gonna be clutch again. He's gonna lock himself into the championship 4.
He won here last year. He says it's one of his worst tracks too, which I don't see that. But how about you, Eric? Who you pick?
I'm going with somebody that I haven't picked in a while, and that's been kind of under the radar in my eyes, but still ripping fucking top 5s off, top 10s off left and right, and just kind of cruising along here in the playoffs. And another one that could step up at any moment and absolutely dominate a race. We haven't seen him do it in a while. And I'm not sure it's going to happen here, but this is one of those races where I think the 5 and the 20 could get into it and maybe take each other out and rubbing tires and kind of battling up the top of the wall. And I was thinking the 20, but I'm like, he runs into the wall just as much as Reddick does when he's up there. Yeah. And I'm going to go with someone that just is consistent, that might not run that far up the wall. My boy, Slick Willie 2 Clock.
Yeah. Honestly, I almost went with him first, where I was like, you know what? I don't know his history at Homestead, though. I couldn't remember.
It's just consistency. I don't need to know Homestead nothing. He's good no matter where he goes. And when Fugel gives him a car underneath them and they go out there and execute, they could dominate too. And I think it's about time he jumps out and steals the show for once.
I think you're right too. He's been running super consistently, and not a lot of people are talking about William Byron right now. But we will see. Right now, your playoff picture, Joey Logano is locked in with a win. Christopher Bell is 42 points to the good. Kyle Larson, 35 points, and William Byron, 27 points. Outside looking in right now, Denny Hamlin, minus 27 points. Tyler Reddick, minus 30. Ryan Blaney, minus 47. And Chase Elliott, minus 53. I think probably each one of those guys need to win in the next two races to get themselves locked in. But we will see. Anything can happen. Like you said, Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell could get into each other and take themselves out. We will find out this Sunday, 2:30. Will it be Christopher Bell, or will it be Kyle Larson, or will we get a surprise winner? Who knows? Maybe Chase Elliott will win and knock someone out of the top four. We'll find out this Sunday, 2:30 on NBC for the Straight Talk Wireless 400, and we'll break it all down for you right here on the Bumper Run Podcast next Tuesday night. For Matt the Statman Riley, for Eric Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night.
Fuck you, Kimmy.
The Bump and Run.
There it is.